Time for the fire horse. Time to write it down. Even my right thumb has been on strike since yesterday, or rather since the night before yesterday. It's swollen and immobile, and the pain is now radiating up my entire arm to my shoulder, paralyzing me, so that no more damage can be done, I think now. While my mind relentlessly tortures and humiliates me in the torments of life, as only the mind can so effectively, the love within me is increasingly able to withstand everything and keep the space open within me for whatever deep, profoundly abysmal things I may have to experience again. My soul, my heart, so brave and so self-conscious. The year of the fire horse is gradually making its presence felt. The untamed horse has reached my door. First it knocked gently, and when I didn't respond, it took a running start from the old, kicked the gate in with full force, and galloped in. Contrary to its intention, engulfed in fury and rage, it ruthlessly ravaged the hallway and living room with its fiery tail. In its insatiable desire for the highest goal. The children's room got scratched, but then spared, even enveloped in an unviolable wall of the most radiant protection. At that point I didn't know that it performed this noble gesture with its last remaining strength. Finally reached the bedroom, set it on terrible, all-consuming flames, and then, with brute force, using an iceberg containing the trapped masses of water, its icy coldness and enormous weight, attempted to drown it. That which calls itself myself was present, nestled in a blanket of pain and betrayal, on a pillow that no longer wants to support my heavy head. Both my hands, one wasn't enough, reigning over the position of my heart, heavily burdened, uncertain, but still somehow trusting that it might survive this, too. The horse, it collapsed right there. It located its place where to finally find peace, and in the same breath laid open its terrible wounds. I sense it ain't leaving this space until they are heard and redeemed. It has taken a well long time. In the next moment, by magic, I am standing there in the middle of the room. It looks like a battlefield. It smells like failure. But life is still pulsating within the wounded flesh and relying on me. To let that sink in instead of embracing the fire horse and dying on the spot with it. I know, that's what's needed now. I stand with raised arms. From the outside, it might look like a petrified sculpture. I move minimally and mostly internal. But the dance I am about to perform, its magic lies within this bizarre sculpture and ain't ever leaving. I am aware this dance loves me much more unconditionally and more strongly than I love it. Because my mind keeps pushing me in different directions and holding me captive. Now it's this seemingly immobile pose. Its power, however, shatters all spaces, barriers, and expectations. This with a gentleness that has been rare in my life so far. I see. That is the so-called unconditional love. This simple freedom to just be. The contemplation of my pure, limitless being. Here and there, smaller and larger flames fight for their survival. My frozen eyes begin to thaw, and I see them more and more clearly. The extent of devastation, and how other elements now, out of nowhere, step into action to heal the being. Equally imperceptible in their movement, invisible to the eye. Yes, I've experienced it like this before. We are so much better practiced at seeing the flames and the destruction than the ever present breath of life, which always makes everything well again. It is our vision that makes all the difference to what happens next. The wind dries the inevitably melting ice masses. The air effortlessly brings the lightness of spirit back on board. The earth patiently lets me feel that it will still be there after us, just as it was before us. And each of these forces truly resides within each of us. Although I cannot move my body, because something has ensured that I shouldn't move it at all, even if my mind wants me to, I can see perfectly well with my eyes, in all directions. The most useful of all being the inward view. I let the fires blaze outside. Some will gradually go out on their own. I don't have to do anything now. They will go out, and in the place of their apparent destruction, beautiful patterns will emerge and remain visible forever. One may as well consider it art. The new life that arises from decay and continues existing in another form, defining the self. So simple. I turn my gaze inward. It is warmer now and softer. It caresses the frozen parts of me and gives them the silent permission to be again, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. They now experience what I had considered impossible for so long. Just looking at this was unimaginable. Now so much more is happening. Out there, something new is being created by the fire. In here, something new and everything emerges from the depths of itself. The warmth spreads, and in a fire, with the same properties as the one outside, but completely different in its appearance, its purpose, and its art. My arms, still pointing towards the sky, now embrace this sculpture. We begin to sway slowly, very slowly, imperceptibly. The beauty of this still invisible yet powerful movement filling the sculpture from within. The inner space expands with confidence and wisdom, every fiber crying out with joy in anticipation of the dance. The inner eye now sees me dancing in all my glory and gently touching the outside with every movement. In all my cells, the knowledge of eons surges and becomes light. It draws from its own source, and the external source rejoices to unite with it. It promptly rushes forward to celebrate the moment of unity. That which was merely separated by appearances becomes this ever-present unity. I feel it by allowing it. That is the only way. A firework, yes, of love, now illuminates the room that once resembled the battlefield. The body, formerly frozen, begins to thaw and move to the inner melody. The dance it had so longed for is about to begin. The movement is clear and distinct, the way it has always been. Deep down, it has been waiting to be allowed to unfold. How ridiculous it seems to me now that its own mind, its pain, has imposed a prohibition on it against showing itself, while it is so beautiful. The dance spreads outwards. It plays with the fires and flames and the lingering ashes. Through the loving touch, the horse's essence is revealed, taking shape once more. Through its motionless flesh, now shining, the heart. The same fire as mine, just like mine. Through its eyes, I feel boundless gratitude, and it is this that ignites the dance within. The same flame which, untamed in lack of love, was previously capable of causing so much damage. It gathers the remnants of its fire outside and those of its fear within. Like an invisible mosaic, it slowly and thoughtfully places each piece in its rightful place within. Because everything is allowed to be. It even has to be. Because everything is an indispensable part of it. It takes its time, and the space grants it that time, grants it to the process without which it cannot go on. Observing this act of grace rearranges things within myself too, or again, it feels wonderful. Wholeness in all the beauty of the light, which can only shine through when not held back by self-imposed obstacles. So infinitely beautiful. Thoughts return, also clear and distinct, and quite significant. Who harmed whom here? Who led whom to healing? What was the intention? What was external? What was internal? What is external? What internal? Who can say? Who can know? Or what alone can know? The fire horse may have come uninvited and tempestuously, seemingly devastating, but it brought the greatest grace that I was prepared to grant myself. Yes, I was ready. Again, just like always. Now we can both continue our paths, outside as well as inside, above as below, together and each on our own, together or each on our own. Then, seemingly alone, because everything that has ever touched us is forever sheltered within us. And anyway, who can really say which part was already mine before, and vice versa? Isn't everything but a reflection of what is already within us? Who is telling this story? That which usually calls itself myself, the mythical horse, or the eternally burning fire, when everything is one, truly. The power within me as well as the reins.